Day afternoon. The club is here. Andy, myself, and Clay. We're going to recap my Super Bowl trip out to Arizona with Underdog. Andy's been crushing in the Underdog NBA streets. Maybe a little recapping of some of the playoff contests in the world of NFTs. We had Blur's Airdrop today. And we also have breaking news. The SEC is ordering that USDC needs to cease the sale of unregulated securities. So we can dive into all of that today at the club. Let's do it. Have you guys seen this battle going on with JuJu's Valentine's Day tweet? Now AJ Brown just came in over the top.
No, I didn't.
Just hit the group chat. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, so JuJu did this one picture of Bradbury here. It says, "I'll hold you when it matters most," which is a pretty good tweet from JuJu. But then AJ Brown was not enjoying that. Says, "First of all, congratulations. Y'all deserve it. This is lame. You was on the way out of the league before Mahomes resurrected your career on your one-year deal, TikTok boy. He admitted that he grabbed you, but don't act like that or ever was. But congratulations again."
Wow, that is intense.
It's the TikTok boy is like when the gloves came off for sure.
Great.
Oh my goodness. What's up, Bonesaw? What is up, Willis? What is up, Harbs? Shout out to Harbs, another guy who I believe, Harbs, what did you finish? Like top 2, top 3 in one of the playoff contests? You had like a $55,000 score. I think it must have been in the original gauntlet. Yeah, all kinds of people from the Deposit Kingdom crushing those Underdog playoff contests. Silas finished very high. Hope in the Ship Chasing channel. All kinds of big winners. And Andy, what did you finish? You said 17th in the gauntlet?
I finished 19th in the gauntlet, and then I finished like in the 30s in the mitten returns.
Nice.
So yeah, not too bad.
Did you have any guys you were specifically sweating that could have vaulted you up a good chunk, or were you kind of blind?
Yeah, the Jerick McKinnon 2 different plays where he didn't get a touchdown. The one where he got tackled at like the half-yard line on that like screen or whatever, and then when he stopped right at the end of the game, those would have been really. I had McKinnon on both teams, and those would have been really juicy for me.
Wow. Yeah, there were some. Who was the other guy who got? Well, the Gainwell. People who had Gainwell when he fell down at the one. That one hurt as well.
I had him on one of those teams.
That would have changed my DFS night in a meaningful manner.
What did you have? You were playing Showdown, Clay?
Yeah, Showdown was fine. Had a lot of Gainwell, so that would have been a helpful piece. But I did have my best night just in terms of pure betting ever. So that was great. Super Bowl was good to me.
Nice.
It was very close. From one more Travis Kelce touchdown would have been the nuts. Had a couple two touchdown Kelce Hurts tickets in the works that I liked a lot.
I was the fish who was on the Eagles, so I was not celebrating with you. So I assume you were heavy Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself for feeling like I read the board well in this game. I was on the Chiefs, I took money line either like right before kickoff. I almost doubled down when they went down 2 and took it again, but I didn't do that. But I was on the Chiefs. Besides Hurts, I thought Hurts is like rushing equity, like he was just going to leave it out there on the game. And I feel lucky with how it kind of played out too, with it being such a like good scoring game, like good offensive output from the Eagles. Was like they shit the bed or anything. That's all been very well hashed out by every sports football commentator expert out there in the world. But yeah, it worked out well. So I like that Mahomes won. Felt right going on the GOAT trajectory. That's I like that angle for it.
Yeah, it's their entire offense and defense of just being like perfect in that second half. It's like you can't even really complain. They marched down the field. They didn't give up a ton of points. They just were absolute nails in that second half.
I would love to know like the NFL Films like view on like after he re-injured his ankle, because I literally just like I almost like turned it off. Like I obviously wasn't going to, but like I felt like I wanted to in that moment, because I was like, I have everything hinging on Mahomes like making it through this game, at least able to stand upright and take snaps. And that looked bad the way he reacted. And then for him to come back out there in the second half and like, it's incredible. I mean, it's obviously modern medicines / the horse tranquilizers the NFL gives out. But yeah, I would love to know more behind the scenes on how that all played out, because it looked scary from at least my couch standpoint at that moment with his reaction, pain, and everything. I was like, he's done.
Where did you watch the game, Andy?
I was at my buddy Sean's, who I think both you guys have met Sean. He was at the live podcast we did.
Oh, yeah.
He's Ali's partner at RKO. We were at his place. It was a good time. We had a good amount of people there, a lot of food, which was good. But yeah, it was a decent betting. I mean, I did well in playoff best ball, like overall, and so like can't complain there. But I was actually doing pretty well on the like per drive catch bets. Those were kind of on FanDuel.
Really?
Like every drive they had like just odds for will this player get a catch on this drive. And my buddy and I, every drive, were just like picking a random person and trying to get it to hit. And we hit like 5 drives in a row or something. And then most of them were like plus 250, plus 300, depending on who you took.
Even sometimes like the field goal versus touchdown markets are pretty wild on like the drive ones. Like you get a field goal at plus 370, and like I don't know, there's just times where it just feels like, all right, well, this feels like a likely feel good scenario between like how that defense is playing, like how the first X amount of drives. But of course, it's so unpredictable. It's like silly in the first place that you even rationally think that way. But it is fun. I mean, when there's a plus money, like I don't hate a little sprinkle from an entertainment purpose.
It's so funny because everyone always talks about like that being the future, like per play betting, or betting on a single at bat or a possession. And I always wondered who's the sickos that are actually doing it, and I think we found our answer. It's Andy. That is Super Bowl funny.
It's me.
I think so too, but it's a different viewing experience because like you have to be so. It's the same with like live betting. Like I had like 3 days in a row where I was like watching NBA while working, and I hit 3 great like long shot live bets when home teams were down by like 20 points going into the fourth quarter, and I'm like, NBA, like 20-point runs in the NBA these days are like 5-point runs, 10 years ago. It's nothing with the 3-point shooting. Hit 3 in a row. And I'm like, well, if you're watching these games, like there's something here where you can kind of like, figure out a little bit of structure for how you would like a certain situation to go. But in order to do like the every drive or the every at bat ones, like you got to be watching that game with no distractions. You can't be like half over here on a different screen or half over here on a different screen. I mean, or else it's just pure.
Well, so I would say it was a pretty different experience for us. We were drinking beers and eating, and every drive we were like,
well, what's better?
All right, let's pick a player. Who's it going to be? I don't know. It's Devonta Smith. All right, let's go.
Vibes.
It is funny. Even like Underdog, I got in there and fired off on some of the second half pick'ems, and it is really fun to take the information you got, whether the game script itself or some of the usage trends, and then apply it. Because I think a lot of times the way they're setting those lines is in a pretty automated fashion based off of more heavily weighted toward their full game projection as opposed to like what has happened already. So it is fun to hop in there and get that second action. I was just bled so dry. I'd fired so much that I was like, all right, there's only so much powder that I can spend on this game right now.
Pete, a better Super Bowl question is, how was Arizona? I mean, that's what I want to hear about. I figure
so what was your viewing experience? Did you guys watch like at the house or?
Yeah. So we at the house, so you guys probably seen some of the photos. I can actually pull up. This was
sick. I had friends who just knew about Underdog vaguely, like text me being like, that place looks insane.
Yeah, so they had like this movie room area that was kind of this. So this was a big projector in there. Really nice. You can see Nick Rudman's head in the foreground here in the front row. But yeah, this was where we watched the game. And, our friend and our co-host, Jack, he went to the game. But I didn't feel like ponying up $5,000 to go there, and had fun eating In-N-Out burger, drinking beers, and watching from this perch.
Nice.
What was your biggest? But yeah, what was your rose and the thorn of the house experience?
My what?
Your rose and your thorn in the Valentine's Day.
My rose
tradition. Your rose and your thorn. You never play that game? It's like one, like your kind of like your
like and dislike.
High low. Your bat. Yeah.
I picked it up, reading between the lines. I've just never heard that for this game specifically. I like it. All right.
My even more rose, appropriate on today.
So I will have a Lou is helping me stitch together a little kind of like vlog video. I recorded a bunch of like short little clips, so we get to see more of the house in my time when that comes out. But for some reason, so we're in this massive house, you know, because they had so many people that they were putting up. Like I've been going with them the past couple of years, but the team and their partners just keep getting bigger and bigger. So they had this house that could sleep all kinds of people. For some reason, they decided to give me the master suite. And I legitimately don't know why. Liz told me.
Influencer 101.
Influencer 101. I think they felt sorry for me that I had a baby and they were wanting me to get a really good night's sleep. So I was in a
shout out Liz. That's incredible.
Yeah, Liz is incredible over there at Underdog in the marketing. And so, yeah, I had my own giant master suite, a bathroom that's like literally bigger than like multiple rooms at my house, the patio balcony looking out there. So that definitely was my rose, Clay, there. I could not complain about that. Yeah.
How did your wife feel about learning that was the situation?
Yeah.
Jealous?
I have to balance with her. Like, you know, there's some things she's happy for. And then like some things I just can't like rub in too much while she's at home taking care of the baby.
Yeah.
GA saying
I'm learning
some
that in
reason.
real time.
Trust me, buddy. There are people at the Super Bowl party that are far more important to Underdog than me. It really is for some reason. I have no clue why I got that. The thorn. I'm trying to think of the thorn. I mean, the thing is I just realized on these trips, like I'm just becoming an old man. You know, Jack's running off to the Sports Illustrated party, the Shaq party. I got invited to go to the Shaq party, and I was just like, I'm just too tired, man. I just need to go sleep and just wake up. So that was my thorn, is not having enough energy or feeling cool enough to take in all of the Super Bowl nightlife.
Did you guys see the picture of the flight map of all the private jets leaving Arizona? The next day, like that morning? It's hilarious. There's just like hundreds of private jets all leaving Arizona.
It's also like wild how many are going like the shortest distance you could imagine. Like they hardly even show like there's no trail on that airplane icon. It's crazy. Did you hang out with Steve Smith?
You know, I didn't overlap with Steve Smith, but at the Underdog party they threw on Saturday afternoon, Gilbert Arenas was there, which was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Yeah.
How was working out with Rudman?
Yeah, that was intimidating. You know, Rudman and Sam Berman, who works for Underdog, I guess they had gone to the gym like one of the first days before I'd gotten there. And then on Saturday, I decided to go join them. And it got even more intimidating because Rudman asked me to spot him on the bench. And I was like, I sure hope nothing goes wrong, because the amount of weight you're lifting right now, I am not actually going to be able to help you. Luckily, he was fine. He was absolutely fine.
Well, then he really did one with that photo of Rudman.
I know. Yeah. So I posted this photo, and I didn't even think it. You know, we're walking to the gym. I was like, I'll put on Twitter that I'm going to the gym with Rudman. People will enjoy that or whatever. Apparently, it was an unflattering shot of his calves. Started getting shamed for missing leg day. And I'm not kidding you. Like, this is going to fuel Rudman's gym workouts for like the next 10 years. Like, this is honestly huge material.
Yo, he's about to turn into drama from Entourage and just be obsessed with like his calves and like calf implant. Like that's gonna be a bit for him now.
It was so good. This gym we went to was hilarious. It was like, it was like a normal gym, but just like super condensed. Like if you went to like, I don't know I think it was called like Anytime Fitness. So they had the machines, but it was really small. And it was like all these retirees, and the guy who ran it was a former bodybuilder. And like everyone in there was much older, but they were all jacked. One of these guys comes in. He comes in off of a motorcycle. He's wearing like this Americana shirt, has his weight belt already on, and has a gun holstered in his weight belt. Just walking right. I was like, we're in Arizona. I get out Arizona.
I mean, that's like everywhere outside the Northeast. I remember the first time I took Stacy to like North Carolina, she saw like a open carry like sign on like a door, like the grocery store, and she was like, "Where am I?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "The sign on the door, it was for open carry." I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's just how it is."
I could have listened. I was like eavesdropping on these guys tell stories, and then one of them ended up talking to us, and they were comparing tattoos with Rudman. And then this one guy was like, I got my one tattoo that I need to get removed. And he's like telling us the story. And he's like, yeah, I got my ex-wife's name. I was at a biker bar at 2 a.m. I had it put on. First, I had her name erased. And now I'm trying to get the rest of the thing removed. And he just shows us. And it looks like the photo from like Back to the Future that's slowly like disappearing into his arm. But these guys were an absolute riot.
So what's their secret to being jacked at that, elderly age, should we say?
I think they live in the gym. I think they just go for like 3 to 4 hours, because I've noticed this with other things too. Like I remember my grandpa before he passed away, he had his like routine where he went down to the coffee shop and he'd like hang out for 4 hours and he'd just sit there with his friends, have his coffee, have his bagels. I think that's this for these guys. They just go to the gym, shoot the shit, and are there for like 3 hours a day. It was incredible. The other thing was when Rudman asked me, I was like, oh, what are you going to do now? I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do chest and bench, because I don't get to go to my gym a ton these days. So I was like, I'm going to take advantage of having a bench press. And I never felt like so emasculated. Like I think I'm like average at bench, and I've been doing it for a little bit. So I have like a program I'm working up to. Like having Rudman like spot you and just pulling off his weights in between sets to put mine on. I never felt like such a small little man than in that moment.
So that part is like, if I was there racking the weights, that would be all the workout I would need in order to feel probably sore the next morning, is just taking the weights off and putting them on in between the sets.
There was at one point where like I kept the 45s on. I took off one of his 45s and then a 25 and a 10, and then put on 15 for me, like after taking off like 100 pounds of weight just on one side. So yeah. And the other thing about Rudman working out, he goes like really hard and really fast. Like his time between sets, I realized how much I dick around at the gym. Like, oh, I take 3 or 4 minutes in between my next set. He's like, boom, 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 like rapid fire. And so I'm like, I'm gassed, man. I need more time in between these sets.
I like the beaver beard. I'm a thumbs up for Rudman keeping the beaver beard, the blonde. That's a good summer move.
Yeah.
I don't know how I felt about it.
I like it. It's a good brand for him.
I know. Yeah, I'll pull up. This was on Twitter, but we did get a photo from the gym here. If you want to see the beard that these guys are referencing here, it's also kind of like Underdog color, so it feels kind of on brand too.
For a second, I thought it was just that his beard was gray, and I was like, wow, he grayed quickly.
I thought this gym was in y'all's house. When I first saw this photo, I didn't put it together as like an outside gym. I was like, oh yeah, that house is big enough. It makes sense they would have a gym this crazy, and there's just a random old guy in the back. Like that all adds up. It's probably Jeremy's uncle or something. Who knows?
The house did have like a little gym, but no, we went off campus for this one. But yeah, it was a good time. We what else did we do? We went to Topgolf one night. We went over to the Waste Management Open for a few hours on Friday. The funny story, I assume you guys saw like the TikToks of the streaker.
Yes.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, let me pull that up real quick, Andy, if you did see that.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Just to give you some backstory before I tell ours here. So yeah, so there was this dude who streaked on to, here we go. Yeah, so he has this huge mullet. Pole. And I don't know if this is the full video. He ends up jumping into the water and swimming out to like the Waste Management logo in the middle of one of the ponds. he was like on the run for so long.
That's really funny.
I really want to find. So here's another. He's getting chased down. So this is where he jumped in the water. Belly flops in.
That's incredible. I didn't see that full part. I just saw like the close up too, where like he had like paint on the front of him, like on the front side of him, like pointing down was it said like pull, and on his back painted down like tramp stamp location that said hole, and then he's out there grinding the flag on the 60. Incredible.
I'm trying to find the one where he does a better angle of doing the belly flop into. This might be it here, but so oh yeah, here you go. I love how he's like lumbering along like he got shot by a tranquilizer. Belly flops into the water and then swims out to the middle of the side. So anyways, we're walking into Waste Management. It's probably like 2 in the afternoon. I see this man in handcuffs surrounded by multiple police officers. And I didn't know any of this context. And I just turned to these guys. I was like, this guy had himself a day because he's like soaking wet, mullet, half closed. And I was like, I would love to know the story of what happened to this guy. Well, lo and behold, I was able to find out what his
That's
story
really
was.
funny.
Let's see. Can I do combine reps? I can. My goal once was to try to beat Christian McCaffrey's. I think I'm like halfway there right now for 225. But
What was
Rudman,
McCaffrey's?
I think McCaffrey was 12. I think McCaffrey got 12 at 225. I
Yeah,
wasn't
McCaffrey's
keeping
nice
track
at ping pong.
Who's that?
McCaffrey. He was part of
Is he?
one of my college roommates, his clients, P&G, and they did this like Twitch Sports stream, and they had McCaffrey, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, and like a handful of other players compete in this like ping pong tournament. That was pretty cool. It was like live streamed and stuff. He was nice on the tables. He said like him and like JC Horn, they were both. JC Horn was another competitor, like Panthers, like defensive back safety. I don't know. I know a defensive player. Leave it at that. They were talking about like all the competitions they used to have in the locker room before CMC got traded. And he's like, I haven't picked up a paddle in like 7 months. And then all of a sudden he's just like whooping ass out there. So it was cool.
I feel like some of those athletes, like the Steph Currys of the world and the Patrick Mahomes, who are just like probably bizarrely good at so many random sports. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Patrick Mahomes was like a world-class ping pong player.
Yeah, CMC made a joke about that. He said something like, "He's only stick to the stuff I'm good at." He's like, "You won't catch me on a golf course or anywhere else." He's like, I know my niche. It's like running the football in the NFL and ping pong."
Wasn't there like a viral Patrick Mahomes clip of him at a Topgolf once, just like crushing the ball or doing a trick shot? I could swear that happened.
I feel like I remember that too. I just can't remember if that was like an edited video, like the most recent Steph Curry, full court shot one that whoever put out that looked like the old LeBron Powerade commercial from back in the day.
Maybe it was, I'm Googling it now. Maybe it was just a normal swing, but because it was Patrick Mahomes, it like went viral.
Everyone's like, freaking out over it. That sounds about right.
I'm trying to think anything else from the Super Bowl out there in Arizona. Oh, we for food, they just ordered a shit ton of In-N-Out burger on Sunday, which was like the best Super Bowl meal I think I've ever had.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. We did, honestly, ours was really good. We had, it was like nothing crazy, but it was just like wings and a lot of like charcuterie board stuff, and then there's like a bunch of dips, which is always nice. So like buffalo chicken dip, spinach and artichoke, stuff like that. It was good. I ate well.
Where did you say you were, Clay, for the Super Bowl?
I'm just chilling. It was like, doing stuff with KOD and Discord. So I also just I was the travel last year coming back from LA and the Super Bowl event out there. Like I traveled back on Sunday and I got back like in the nick of time for the game. And I was thankful to honestly not have to deal with all of that hoopla right before. And it was just kind of nice to be in my home space. Like just me, Stacy, our dog, made some food here, bought some beers. I was on like the Linked Out stream before the game too, because we did a cool partnership with them over the weekend on like some golf tournament stuff around the Waste Management Open. So just a combination of all that stuff. I was like, I'm ready for a low key Super Bowl. And yeah, it was everything I wanted.
Nice.
It's funny because like there was, multiple Eagles fans that work for Underdog, Sam, who was in the Underdog Cardio Club video that and then like Abe, which is Jack's podcast partner, who's a big Eagles fan. They all left super early Sunday morning. I think like coincidentally, like all Eagles fans were like, I need to watch this in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, I respect that. And also, I assume some of those guys were probably flying back to Philly as well, or around that area to be a part of it. It had went otherwise.
Did you guys get fooled by the Tubi ad? Remember when that came on and it made it seem like someone had accidentally changed the game?
I didn't, but people who were there totally did. There were people who were like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah, I missed that one somehow.
The any big prop bet hits, I think my biggest one was I did have Sky Moore anytime touchdown that I did as a bit. And, and then that hit. I saw Jack was 1 away on his big 1,000 to win 20,000 pick'em. It was just that Jake Elliott under 1.5 field goals. And Hayden was on that too. Like Hayden was so depressed watching the game when that second field goal went in. What about you guys?
Nothing crazy for me. It was I didn't really put in any like super big prop bets or anything. I put in a couple like 5 legs on Underdog, and I'm not sure I've ever won one of those in my life. So like, I wasn't holding my breath.
I went bigger on a 5-legger on Underdog and missed by I think 0.95 Goddard fantasy points. That was pretty tilting.
Oh no.
He hit 9 fantasy points. I took him at over 9.95. And I threw most of the time when I'm doing 5, I'm throwing like $5 on it and win 100 just for like shits and giggles. So I'm gonna kind of just like firing. This one, like, no, I'll step it up. I'll put more on it. So that was a little frustrating. The best was I hit Jalen Hurts' first touchdown score. So that was nice. And then I hit like a 5-leg parlay of Hurts and Kelsey anytime touchdowns, Kelsey over 75 receiving yards, Goddard over 45 receiving yards, and JuJu over 30 receiving yards, and that hit. So that was a nice hit.
I know it was like probably the 14th most important storyline for that game, but every single Dallas Goedert catch was like a highlight worthy catch. It was insane.
He played really well.
And I got to give a shout out to Purple Gatorade was actually the best one I hit. And that's like a big thing in our Discord. Yeah, our guy Proto, who's on our show, Fight Night, our UFC show, he is the Gatorade Legend. Last year, he put this whole kind of like expose of research into our Discord for how he went back through all of the footage, all the NFL film footage that he could get his hands on, and identified that if the Rams were going to win, it was going to be blue. And he had this whole thesis for how he did it. So this year, does the same thing. And like, it was so funny because he shared his like YouTube like watch history, and it was like every single like clip that of like any sideline action from the Chiefs over the whole season, and particularly in the playoffs is where he started. Like, he was going back and watching their like the franchise, like their YouTube series, watched like every episode of that, and identified purple as a color. And purple is at like plus 2,000 like odds on some books, or like closer to like 900 or like close to 1,000 odds on other books. And our whole Discord wrote it and hit, and it was incredible. I think
that's awesome.
Like collectively from everyone who like tailed him individually, like something like 35K like winnings, like is what he calculated from what just people shared back to him. So it was fun.
I mean, you definitely can't put like serious size on that bet, right?
No, I mean, I had like $28 left in that account. I put like 23 on it, so that was fun. At 2,200, it's a good time. So yeah, I mean, that was a really fun moment. Second year in a row. Shout out Proto. The Gatorade Legend.
Wasn't there like a huge controversy about the color,
at first,
like on Twitter?
People didn't think it happened. Everyone freaked out because one of the sports books tweeted out like there was no Gatorade pour, and so I think DraftKings glitched and they graded all the bets as like a 0, even though their official account had just tweeted out that it was purple with a photo, and then somebody else had tried to say it was like water and stuff. Yeah, grinding Gatorade film. It's facts. I mean, he put it, but it's paid off back-to-back years, like in just incredible fashion. And like the thought behind the research is incredible, like true Sherlock Holmes shit. Like, he's digging and uncovering screenshots, the whole 9 yards. Like, it's like a whole detective board out here is what I imagine Proto's got in his house. So yeah, shout out.
It's incredible. It was this an actual line, Lou. Andy Reid was supposed to be doused with barbecue sauce plus 1,400. I love how Andy Reid, every single quote he gives is like about food. They're like, "Oh, you guys are going to Germany next year." He's like, "Can't wait to try the bratwurst." And then he's like, "Oh, I can't wait to have the hamburger." Like, that's the only thing he thinks about when a question.
That's the thing. Asked. No, or was it? I saw the clip. It was like Terry Bradshaw or something, like how savage it was that he comes up and like the first thing he says to him is something about how they need to find him a cheeseburger, and it's like, damn, bro, like let my guy live for a second.
That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I was listening to, I think it was one of like the Ringers NFL podcasts about Media Day, and they were saying that they like watched Andy Reid talk for like, 20 minutes or something, 30 minutes, and he was asked what his favorite cheeseburger was 3 times. And they were like, if you just like extrapolate that out to how many questions he answered over the entire week, he must have been asked like about food so much.
If Sweet Baby Ray's does not offer him some kind of incredible marketing partnership, they're missing out. And then if Andy Reid doesn't launch like a ghost kitchen, like burger chain, like Mr. Beast style, like he's missing out. Like at this point, we need like Andy's Burgers or something would crush, especially the Kansas City area. If anyone's on the Andy Reid's marketing team, like give me a shout. Like we can ideate here.
I know, especially with like the walrus beard too, where you can get the stuff stuck in there. Like it would just make a perfect. Do you know what he would be good at? You remember those, what was it, the Carl's Jr. commercials back in the day where you had people eating like the burgers in slow motion?
It was really sexualized with the women. It was just like
very
over.
sexualized.
It was a huge like kind of like conversation in like the marketing ad space about it from a bunch of different angles. I see where you're going with this, Pete. Yeah.
Brandon says the Tony touchdown play is called the corn dog.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
Or even
The
too like
entire
a got milk campaign, but it's just like Andy Reid mustache with barbecue sauce. Like, love it.
Easy
Put it on
game.
a billboard.
Easy game. What was the deal with this? I heard people talking about this. I know FanDuel had like the promotion, like the Gronk field goal. And then some people were saying like the clip they initially showed was different from the like official one. Like did either of you know the story behind this?
Rug. No.
I didn't.
What they showed on the screen was a big letdown compared to what they made it out to be. It was like a 15-second, like what you would expect like a commercial to be, except for they were like, it's live, but very clearly wasn't live. And it lasted 10 seconds. And like, you couldn't tell what happened. For like, as good as the marketing was ahead of time, I didn't feel like what I experienced there in the moment like added up to that at all. And I thought, honestly, if you didn't have the reference on like what was happening, you probably were like, what the fuck is this? I don't know if that was everyone's experience, but that was my initial takeaway. Did you what was it? What was the reaction of the party like, Andy, to it? Were people like,
no one gave a shit about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw there were, they said the thing that I saw was that the kick they showed and then like the clip that circulated was like two different clips or something. And then even when he did make it, it hooked so much that like they weren't sure when it happened if it had actually gone in or not. It just seemed like a real mess.
I was having a thought about like what, how far in advance these kind of things have to be planned, especially in relation to being like a formal commercial. So like you think about like FanDuel having to book this commercial spot, right? Then you have to think about like who on like their team creative wise, or if they're working with like an agency or another partner or something to help pull this off, like how far in advance this idea was. And then I'm also thinking of like, been so many rooms where like an idea like this is put forward and like everyone's like, yeah, that's sick, but like how the hell is that ever going to happen? And I'm just so curious about like, I would love to just be a fly on the wall to understand like who pitched this as being like an idea. And then obviously everyone's like, oh, that's really fun. Like we got Gronk, we'll get Gronk to do like whatever. And then how it actually became a thing to go into like public marketing and then to actually be like something that's going to happen live during the Super Bowl. And then like where it kind of like fell apart, because it's like from, I think, original idea to execution, it's like, yeah, it's a very challenging thing, which is why most brands or companies wouldn't even take a stab at doing something as daunting as like a live Super Bowl commercial. But I think it's also where, at least for me, it fell flat.
Yeah. Daniel says commercials were disappointing too. And I had the epiphany like late in the week. I was like, normally people are always talking about the commercials. I think the only commercial related thing I heard was that crypto commercials were going to be banned. And otherwise I heard zero commercial.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing.
I had heard that the religious thing was going to happen.
Oh, okay.
I had heard some rumors about that. And then, yeah, there was the Digi Dai commercial, which sucked. What a waste.
Awful.
What
did you just catch that, Pete?
What was the deal? It
went right
the
to
QR code
went to
the
CEO's
guy's
Twitter. Yeah. So fucked.
So basically the idea was the first however many people who scanned it did get one. And then after that, you would get redirected to his Twitter instead. Just like, I was disappointed because it just wasn't a commercial. Like, it was just, They paid $6 million to put a QR code on the screen. Like, I would have been way more excited about it if they had actually, like, they could have made a badass commercial showcasing the stuff that they're doing. But, I mean, they are, like, titans of the industry when it comes to mobile gaming and have raised more money than I could ever imagine. And so, like, who am I to tell them how to run their company? I was surprised by it.
I was just personally frustrated because I just felt like it just wasn't a great look for the wider space. And there's just such an uphill battle right now with people's public perception of like the word NFT even. And like, I think there's gonna be a big pivot away from just using that word in most marketing stuff and Web3 space. I mean, honestly, if we really want like adoption going forward. So to me, it was frustrating to feel like this is another chance for like the Web3 space to kind of step out here in a public realm. And there's already all of these feelings from the wider population in regards to like NFTs in the Web3 space as a whole. And then for my own reaction to be like, wow, if you scan this, you go to like this one individual's Twitter account, like, what are we doing here? And like that to me was a poor reflection on like the space. Like at least have, I don't know, that was pretty tilting for me and my my personal feelings on just like this was a moment for like somebody who's going to put money to this to show up in a place that could at least like benefit the space more as a whole.
Wouldn't this have been the perfect time to lean into the open edition meta and say whoever in the next hour or whatever uses this link and goes and mints it could get like an NFT? And I don't even know the dynamics of their project, but that would have been cool if it was just like anyone, if you click this link within this time, you get the NFT or whatever.
That would have been really cool.
So what even was the, you said they're a gaming studio, Andy?
Yeah, so they built some like very large mobile games over the last 10 years. And now they raised $200 million for Limit Break, this new company, to do mobile game Web3 stuff. What it's going to be is not like incredibly clear up until this point, but they're kind of like their major thing is that the NFTs they give away for free, like always. And they've made money on the royalties there, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious to see what they do with it. Like Gabe has basically through the NFTs and like this, commercial and stuff, gotten himself to 1 million followers on Twitter. Like he's growth hacked his way to a very large sphere of influence. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of continue to leverage that and what it looks like. But
I would hope so with how expensive that commercial spot was.
It's Gabriel Leiden. I can.
If you did get 1 million followers from an $8 million commercial spot, then I mean, is that way?
He gained like 150K, I think, from the commercial. Maybe less, maybe 100K.
I was laughing because I saw someone's took a screenshot of this and said his Twitter account looked like someone who would send you 2 ETH back if you sent him 1 ETH, which I thought was like the perfect, just how spammy this looks.
Well, also that top tweet too looks like exactly what I spend so much of the time when I open the Twitter app between like my personal account or the KOD account, like reporting and deleting. I just am like, if I see a spammy tweet, I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, report, spam, malicious link, get them off the platform. So tired of my mentions like that.
Not a single one of his tweet. Like, dude, can you mix in just like a single shit post? Like Kadarius Toney finally, LOL. Like just anything to break this up. Oh my God. I had never heard of this guy before. I mean, he does also not look like I would expect a person with this account to look like.
No, and like when you compare him to the images of the NFTs that they're making, these like small anime women.
He looks like he's on the side of the SEC in that PFP.
Yeah.
God.
Oh man.
Jesus.
Fucking Gabe Leiden.
What you said so Blur launched their airdrop today. I haven't been a Blur user. For people who don't know, can you tell people what Blur is and then the significance of their token drop?
Yeah, so they are basically like an OpenSea competitor. They kind of frame themselves more so as like a pro trader marketplace. Also, just for reference, I'm somewhat shilling my bags. I'm an investor. But their whole thing has basically like from the start, like be really, really fast, be really good at like sweeping the floor, aggregate liquidity, kind of allow for like just a really nice, clean trading experience. To kind of they help you track more so like profit and loss and different things like that. They have been using kind of these like token incentives for a bit now to kind of get people to use the platform. It's been a really interesting way to kind of like try to pay people to get over the switching costs of having a platform like that, like, not using OpenSea anymore definitely like takes time for people or like some direct incentive. And so they've been kind of using this like potential airdrop for the last 3 months or so as an incentive to get people to use Blur. And kind of they've done 3 different phases where they've incentivized different things. Like one was just trading on Blur, and now they're focusing a lot more on like the order book spread. And so like the more active bidding that you do closer to the floor, the more you earn. And yeah, and so they released a token today. They released like 12% of the supply or something, so not an insane amount. And basically airdropped it based on a bunch of criteria that they had made over time of like bidding and purchasing and listing for sale and all of that. And the token's at like a $2 billion valuation, which is kind of crazy. Maybe a little bit less than that. Fully diluted valuation, which obviously is different. But yeah, it's the first time in a while that there's been something like it's been a long time since there's been a 5-figure airdrop that like multiple people all got. I mean, the biggest people who were kind of like trying to farm this by providing liquidity and in the form of bids and sales. Some of the biggest wallets claimed over $1 million worth of Blur.
Wow.
What's your take on the U.S. situation, Andy? Because like my understanding was like that was not something that was like very well understood by at least the majority of people on my timeline going into today.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's interesting. I think this is something that like NFT people don't really think about as much, but like DeFi people kind of do all the time. A lot of DeFi apps will block US people, especially like perpetual exchanges, things that could theoretically like not be legal in the US. And so like it's one of those things that's not shocking to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why they chose to do it. I haven't talked to their team or know anything. You know, there's a lot of airdrops that don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like and also the thing I can respect a lot too is I have a greater and greater understanding of the complicated nature around token comms and what is you're allowed to say stuff at all versus not at all. And so they could have even just been a thing by the time that it was like they might have just not have been able to like legally say anything at all related to that as well. So like I think that's something that a lot of people don't appreciate and understand because it is. I get it as well. Like on the other side, it's like. Yeah, if you're somebody who's expecting or you were doing activities because you had an expectation that this would be in the US, sure. But again, like it gets really complicated with securities laws very quickly if you start talking about like X equals X or something equals something else or anything like that, or even just timing around stuff could be super in the weeds from like a legal sense too. I mean, it obviously varies based on where the team is and everything too, but I reckon there's an element of that in there as well. But I was curious because it's a pretty interesting conversation.
Yeah, I think probably they, like you were saying, their hands are probably tied to a certain extent. But I don't know, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Seeing the little Looks Rare down here, that reminds me. How is Looks doing these days? Looks Rare, is anyone using that marketplace?
Not too hot.
Yeah. It's
really mostly been Blur and OpenSea. X2Y2 is still pretty popular for private sales. I don't really know why, but everyone uses X2Y2 for private sales, it seems.
The last time I logged on to Looks, it's like I don't even know what I have on the platform right now.
I think I still have my Looks farming over there. What did you, Clay? Did you just send me? There's an update to the JuJu saga.
Yeah, we got a response back. It's actually pretty good. Shout out JuJu.
All right, JuJu back online. Here, let's see what he said.
Part of me is like he should have went spicier. Somebody who just wants to enjoy with the Twitter popcorn, but from a calm side, well done.
Glad you were finally able to get all that off your chest after all these years. Good game, bro.
The ring was a nice touch.
It would have been funny to say if he was like, you was on the way out too before Hertz resurrected your career or something like that.
That Chipotle was on the way out of your system.
Yeah, there you go. Glad to know that we can have a little fun online. The TikTok boy, though, that I could see that becoming as iconic as the slant boy. You know how Michael Thomas could never shake that?
Right.
TikTok boy.
Well, JuJu now just the real middle finger is to just take that and run with it, trademark it, license the shit out of it, like turn that into like a whole merch line. I have a crush on TikTok. I mean, you can sell. Imagine if he sold a TikTok boy shirt to any person on TikTok. Like, go off, King.
Have Jackson Mahomes and JuJu collaborated on a TikTok? Has that happened?
It's above my pay grade. I do not know that information.
I'm not sure I ever want to know.
I've never actually seen a Jackson Mahomes TikTok for how prevalent seeing him film those are.
Anything else going on in the NFT world of interest?
There's been some. There's one collection that's done really well over the last little bit. I would say for the most part, no. It's been a pretty dead week, other than the blur stuff. One thing though that's been kind of interesting. So on So Rare, the 1 of 1 Giannis got auctioned off. I think it might have been last week, and it went for like 100 ETH or something, 125 ETH, something like that. The 1 of 1 LeBron just auctioned off yesterday, and that one went for like 45 ETH. And so the reason I think there's such a big disparity there is because there is an actual in-game utility, and Giannis is obviously going to be in the league for a lot longer than LeBron, and is currently like a better fantasy player. So those were two pretty big sales on So Rare. And then there's been an NFT collection that's done pretty well over the last like month. It's actually an AI collection that I think is really fucking cool. It's called Life in West America. And it's like these really weird, it's like this really weird, trippy collection that just like I find it to be very kind of gripping. Since I bought, it's also up 4x, and so there's a limit to how gripping it is for me, and I have listed mine for sale again. But they're really cool and just like super weird. Like they look on like the small thumbnails, they look normal, but then whenever you click into any individual one, they're like just not normal photos, and there's just like a lot of trippy stuff with them. Yeah. And so I think that's been interesting, and we're starting to see some AI NFT stuff actually do pretty well. Claire Silver, who is like kind of the OG, that arm is disgusting. Like the OG like AI person.
The other arm looks like something else there.
Yeah. That it is. I do love that idea of the thumbnails looking like they're just like these classic art or photo pieces, and then you click in and see how distorted everything is.
Yeah. But it still looks so realistic, like the people in them. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah. This one's fairly normal.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something. But yeah, that's sweet. And what was the thing you were saying right before that? What was the other thing you mentioned? Why am I blanking right now?
So Rare?
Oh yeah, So Rare. I wanted to ask, is there like, because I'm not super familiar with the site, will that person ever be able to recoup that investment through just pure utility outside of a collectible?
Theoretically, yes. I mean, like it depends, but if you are consistently winning or placing in these tournaments, you get more cards of the same value, or not same value, but the same tier. And so, winning the 1 of 1 tournaments, you get a 1 of 1 card, which is, the floor for any of those. I haven't checked in a while. I'm not sure what it is, but like, it's not nothing. And so I think like the idea is that theoretically, yes, over time, if over the next 2 seasons, you're playing with the Giannis 1 of 1 every single week, like you're pretty likely to win a lot of these tournaments. And so assuming that the market is still pretty consistently hot for this stuff, you should be able to basically like get back what you put in without ever having to even sell the Giannis.
That's crazy. What have you still been in the mix with any of these auctions? Are you still playing?
I'm not doing any more auctions. I still play though. I have like enough players that I can compete and sometimes place. I'm never going to come in first in one of these, just because generally to get the guys even at like the second level of rarity, it's pretty pricey, but it's fun.
Yeah,
I think like there's like a good site, So Rare Data, that I use to help with like making lineups, and it's like it's like Fridays and Sundays or whatever the 2 days are of the week. I like just go in and make my lineups, and it's fun and easy. Every once in a while I'll forget, like I'm pretty sure I forgot to for this part of the week, but it's a good time.
So have you won cards, and if so, have you just folded them into your collection to use, or have you sold on the marketplace?
Yeah, I've definitely won some cards. I've won some pretty decent cards. Like I won like the third rarest tier of a Kyrie Irving. I've won stuff like that, but they're definitely worth something, a couple $100 at least. I for now have just been rolling them into my collection, but I do want to kind of buy a few other players and do a little bit before, like, kind of going into the All-Star break, and try to see what I can do the second half of the season. So I might try to sell a couple and see what I can do. But up until now, I've just been kind of rolling them over, and like I don't have that many. So I play in all of them, but the unique tournaments, which are the one of ones.
Yeah,
I'm priced out of those. And so, like, in the second highest tier, I don't have that many cards. I have like 20, and a couple of my really good players have been injured for a while, and so it's like kind of hard to scrap together
that's a
teams.
bummer.
And so like I spent pretty big on Cade Cunningham like a few weeks before he got season-ending shin surgery. And so that was like the last of my ETH that I'd put in there to buy cards.
Oh yeah,
Blew on a guy who's not playing the rest of the season.
Tough scene.
Yeah, but it's fun. You just like, if you want to play in those higher tournaments, you really gotta have like a good amount of bankroll to pony up for the teams.
Clay, have you dabbled in So Rare?
I've not. I just, I don't need to take on another hobby at the moment that would require more time and effort and money. So I've been enjoying Andy's experience. Definitely intrigued. I mean, it's something that I think in a different world I would really enjoy and be keen to participate more in. But no, as of now, just been a passionate observer from afar, mostly through Andy. Honestly, Andy's been my primary exposure and experience, but it's fun and it's cool to see like what he's looking at from both just like a strategic perspective, but also like, all right, I'm pull for that guy now too. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like you're showing a lot of restraint, Clay, because with how much you love the NBA and NFTs, this seems right up your alley, but it also seems like it could have a corrosive, addictive effect on your life.
Yeah, I'm just, man, like I'm like 200 days away from my wedding. Decisions are got to be made differently. Where, I'm trying. I appreciate
Would you
that.
say you're going after a different one of one, Clay? And that's I'm trying to workshop your Valentine pitch here today.
Thank you. Yeah, I got about a few hours to prepare between now and dinner time for my speech. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we'll keep noodling on that. I'll hit you after the show.
Any Valentine's Day plans on your end, Andy?
Yeah, Ali and I are going to dinner. Fortunately, I booked a while ago. It was funny. I was messaging Deez at like 3:45, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm on my way to dinner, but whatever." And I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was way too late to book something." And I was like, "Dude, you're having a late lunch for Valentine's Day, not a dinner."
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but yeah, Ali and I are going to a Mexican spot tonight. I won't dox the location, but we're excited to go. We went for Cinco de Mayo. Maybe it was last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, and it was really good. But it was like a fixed menu because like Cinco de Mayo is fucking insane.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful that it won't be this time, so that we can try some more stuff, because we like to get a bunch of stuff and just kind of share it all. And there was like not really enough to do that totally. But the food was all really good. The margaritas were really good. So we'll probably, I don't know, I can hear her blow drying her hair in the background. So I think our dinner's at like 7:30. We'll probably go and grab a drink somewhere at like a local bar. We spent way too long at a bar like 2 blocks away on Saturday that we just like, I don't know, we never really went to at our last place, even though it was just 2 blocks further away.
Yeah.
And we became very good friends with the bartender, and she has since promised us that anytime we go there, we at least get a free round of drinks and shots on her. And so we figured might as well go and say hi, because I do know she's working today.
Yo, people hate on New York all they want, but I will say mine and Andy's neighborhood, like people, especially the business owners around here, are incredibly like friendly people and like very neighborhoodly. That's like that's a pretty, and I would say common experience, but that is a particularly in this area as well. And Andy, I might rent to you late night because I think where we're going to dinner is close to y'all's spot, so we'll pass you either, on the street post dinner, or we'll just wave at you walking back to our cribs.
What about you, Pete? What are you guys doing?
We got some braised short ribs going right now in the slow cooker, so gonna do that. But yeah, little first Valentine's Day with the baby, so you know how it goes. Got to make a meal for 3 here, so yeah, low key, I'm just excited to be back home. Like I said, I had a fun time in Arizona, and now I need to catch up on my sleep and turning back into an old man.
Yeah, I feel that. My buddies were messaging me about like going on Discord and talking to them last night, and I was like, guys, I'm in bed by like 10 o'clock these days. Like, I don't have that in me anymore.
Sounds so nice.
Oh, it's great. I go to bed 10. I wake up at like 6:30. It's awesome.
Oh wow, yeah, you're getting up. I used to always get up around 8, and now with the baby, she sleeps great during the night, but she's up by like 6:30 most days. So that's my kind of new awake time I'm getting used to. All right, dudes, this was fun. I thought Jack might hop on. I know he flew back from the Super Bowl because he had to help Hallie and then move up a flight of stairs or something. And I saw a few of his Instagram stories. It seemed like he was
good,
moving hell, but maybe he'll be back with us next week. Do you guys have one final thing? Is there anything exciting about the NBA All-Star game coming up? Anything you guys are looking forward to?
I think it should be a decently fun one. Nothing too much. I'm just still been grinding Underdog NBA stuff, trying to prove out some strategy stuff. I'll be with the Badge Bros on Thursday.
Nice.
So we'll be talking some NBA stuff on Thursday. But yeah, otherwise nothing too serious.
You guys see the logo?
Yeah,
NBA All-Star game.
Was it on? No. Do you want to send it to me?
I just sent it in the private chat. It's incredible. By all accounts, this is like real, and I don't know how this got approved. And if it's fake, shout out to you because it's
what? This has to be fake.
It's gotta be fake. I know. I said the same shit. It's gotta be fake, but it's fucking incredible.
I really hope.
So if this is real, then I'm definitely copping some merch. For sure. 2023 All-Star game. Yeah. I'm about it. They just dropped the 3-point contest lineup, and it looks pretty flush as well. So that's exciting. I'm a big All-Star game fan in general. It's actually a bucket list item of mine to go to one in person. Just be there for kind of like the experience. It's very much like Super Bowl weekend from like an industry party standpoint, but it's always right around Valentine's Day and often on the same weekend if they overlap, which is never great timing. But I'm a fan. I think maybe a city that's not Salt Lake would be my preference. But I really regret not making it Charlotte a few years ago, back in like 2017 or 2018, I think it was. Maybe 2019. A few years back, right before COVID, it was in Charlotte for the All-Star weekend. And that was when I really regretted missing out on because I almost was able to go for work. I'm just a fan as a whole. Dunk contest, I always kind of hope it'll get back to that Aaron Gordon one. But
yeah, good luck with that. MJ says he's getting his girl for the audio listeners there. The shirt says SL Salt Lake, UT for Utah, but on the shirt it looks like
Mac McClung. You familiar with him? He's like he's in the G League, but he got really famous in high school for just being able to dunk the ball like crazy. He went to Georgetown for school. I think he
just got signed to a two-way actually.
I think he's been on a two-way for all season long, but he's in the dunk contest this year. He got put in as a G leaguer, and one of my best friends, who's gonna be the officiant at my wedding, he's out there filming a documentary. Been covering him for like all season long, and so as part of it, they're going out to film him in the dunk contest this weekend, which should be pretty sick. It's actually like Shaq is the voiceover on this doc. It's incredible. It's like the G League's been doing it with my friend's production company. So I'm excited for that as well. That is probably my number one thing I'm most excited about is them capturing the experience of first guy who's not actually in the league in the dunk contest. And I bet it'll do something kind of crazy to show out. So there'll be a lot of fun support behind Mac.
That's sweet. Let's see here. Are we doing a big board draft? No, but I believe I plan to bring Best Ball Breakfast back early this year, and I think I'll kick it off on Monday with a big board draft. So those will be going as usual Monday, 10 a.m. Yes, I am one of those people with a sickness who is thinking and doing best ball drafts in February.
I've done a couple.
It is what it is. It is. We all have issues. And, I will work through mine live on stream Monday at 10. I appreciate you guys as usual hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys, being cool with our new club time here on Tuesday afternoons. We will keep this rolling. We'll get Jack back in the fold here soon. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the Discord. Catch Clay over with the Knights of Degen. Catch Andy doing stuff with Escher, and also, of course, on the Badge Bros this week. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.